Hi. You say hi. You're saying hi to Sarah? Okay. Okay. So today we're gonna need a lot of equipment. I think what I'm gonna do is with on the calendar, now that I have the workouts figured out on there, I'm gonna try to put what equipment you need on the calendar events so that you know ahead of time. But today you're gonna need your ball, your strap, or whatever it is that you have that's like this, a pillow of some sort, or a bolster, or like a rolled up towel, something like that, and your chair. Okay. So we will likely revisit these things in the future. And so if you're like, this piece of equipment doesn't work for me, don't worry, we'll revisit it. You can always revisit this video as well. Hey, Megan, how you doing? Good. So I'll just go through that again. You need your ball, your strap, your bolster or pillow or a rolled up towel or blanket, and a chair today. So we've got a lot of equipment. Today we're going to do a quick release on a hip flexor that's connects to our spine and our diaphragm. So we're going to be on our back today with our ball. All right. And then we are going to do some breathing exercises that are going to get our ribs involved and our back involved. Okay. So, and, I'm at about maybe like 50% today. So if you're there, we're there together. All right. So be ready to be on your back. If you don't have your ball today, if you remember that stretch we did where we did a big rainbow, we were sitting on our chair and we were stretching and then we kind of like rounded forward, you can absolutely do that. That stretch is the same thing, just a little bit different. All right. All right. I guess you're going to have that. So let's get going. We're going to start on the ground with our ball release. So I'm going to have you come onto your back. First, actually, take a look. You're going to be putting the ball under your last rib for this, and this is going to release that QL, that hip flexor that connects to your back. So your last rib is probably lower than you think. I want you to take your fingers, take your thumb, and see if you can kind of feel where that is. If not, it's okay. Once you get on your back, you should be able to kind of feel. If you're going over your ribs, it's not going to feel super great. I don't want you to go over your spine or your ribs with your ball. You're going to keep it to the side and you're going to go right underneath that last rib area. And you should kind of feel where there's like you might feel some tightness in that area. And that's where we're going to be. Okay. So under the last rib, we're going to be rolling the ball toward the outside of our body and then toward the spine, kind of along the base of that last rib. Okay. And we're going to be laying on top of it. And so I want you to kind of play around with it, see what feels good to you. Okay. So come on down onto your back. And it can be a little tricky getting it in the right spot. So don't worry if you don't get it this time. Go ahead and put your ball under that last rib. I'm going to start on my left side. You can start on either side. And I'm going to start do you have to sit on my face? Is that necessary? All right, here we go. You're going to put the ball under your last rib. And you're going to roll back and forth under that rib. So you can see I lift my hips up off the ground in order to get a little bit of a better position. If that works for you, when your hips are down and your butt's down on the ground, it's a little harder to get the ball where you want it. So I lift my hips up off the ground and I roll that ball, oh gosh, under that last rib. Sorry, I'm being sat on, so I'm going to try to adjust here. Keep going. And if you find that a tight spot, I want you to try to relax down around it. Okay. So like when you find that tight spot, I want you to keep it there and see if you can take a deep breath and imagine melting down around the ball. Like I imagine like hot sand flowing over the ball. You just want to melt over it. All right, go ahead and switch to the other side. I know if you feel like you need more time, you can always come back to this after. Switch to the other side though and see if you can roll around. A lot of times one side is tighter than the other. Remember, you're going under that last rib. Again, we don't want to be on top or rolling over our ribs. And usually when you start to go over bone, you can kind of feel it and it doesn't feel very good. It feels not right. But when you get over like a tight muscle, it feels a little bit different. It's kind of that hurts so good feeling. Find that tight muscle. If you find a really tender spot, you can just kind of stay there and melt down around the ball. Good. And you can roll that ball all along the base of that last rib. So out, you go away from your spine, and then you can roll toward your spine. Good. All right. Go ahead and come up. Take that ball out from underneath you. We're going to be in a child's pose next. So get your pillow or your bolster. Here, can I trade you for this? Grab your bolster. And you're going to sit on your knees for just a second. I know that's not the most comfortable position. And I'm going to have you reach your arms if you've ever done yoga before and come into a child's pose in the best way you can. I'm going to have you kind of come into that child's pose where you're coming up onto your knees just a little bit, sitting back into your hips, reaching your arms forward. And you've got this bolster that's right in between your legs and your belly. So it's right there. It's kind of preventing you from breathing into your belly, which I know we've been doing a lot. And so what we're going to practice here, this is going to allow you to breathe into your back. Okay. So when you take your next inhale, I want you to imagine breathing into your back, spreading out your ribs so that there's space in between each rib. All right, so take a deep breath in. Breathe into your back. What you might feel is some tightness in your back and those muscles that are in your upper back. And as you take a breath into them, you might feel some stretching, and that's okay. Just relax into it. You can put your arms wherever feels good. It might feel better to have your head rest on your arms here. Hold your arms in front of you, rest your forehead on them. That's fine. The goal here is to just breathe into your back. Now on your next inhale, I want you to imagine that peeing in the pool sensation or that relaxation of your pelvic floor. For a lot of us, we hold our breath without realizing it throughout the day. Or we take very shallow breaths that are centered on the front of our body, so in our chest and the front of our ribs, as opposed to the back of our ribs. And so this is kind of an exaggerated way of getting that full breath and expanding our ribs out into our backs. This bolster is helping us keep our ribs down, like we talked about while we're pregnant. Our ribs tend to flare out in order for us to allow for breathing. And into the postpartum, we can, if it's possible that we never really go back to having our ribs laced down, and thus we are unable to breathe into our backs throughout the day. Good. All right, now I'm going to have you come on up to seated with your chair. You don't need anything for this other than your chair, so sit down in your chair. I know it's a lot of up and down today. And I'm going to have you sit with your hands on your sides, just like this, with your fingers on the front of your ribs and your thumb on the back of your ribs. And you are going, as you take your next inhale, I want you to breathe into your hands. All right, so you have your hands on the sides of your ribs. I want you to see if you can breathe into the sides of your ribs here. I know. Right, we're almost done. Breathe into the sides of your ribs. As you can see, we're at a stage where we're like, we are switching from 2 naps to 1. We're just grumpy. Breathing into the sides of your ribs. See if you can breathe into your hands. If you can imagine each rib separating away from the one next to it. And now I want you to see on your next inhale if you can breathe into your thumbs. Breathe into your thumb on your back. Keep going. All right, here you go. Oh, man. Here we go. Good job, everybody. We're making it work. Good. So that might be a new sensation for you, kind of taking those deep breaths into the sides of your body. Now, I want you to grab your strap really quickly as we finish up. We're going to try something new here. I'm going to have you wrap that strap around just under your boobs and bring it around in the front and cross it. All right, so I'm going to come up closer so you can see what I'm doing here. You're bringing it all the way around and it's going to cross in front of you, just like this. And you're going to hold it with your palms up, just like this. And you're going to just put a little bit of tension. You're not like pulling it tight, okay? You're just putting a little bit of tension there. And now this is just external feedback, okay? So it's just kind of giving you something to guide you as you breathe. So as you take a breath in, I want you to breathe into your strap. So really try to expand your ribs into your strap. And as you do, your hands are going to come closer together, right? Because you're putting tension on that strap. So open up your chest and then take a deep breath into your ribs, and your hands are going to come very slightly closer together. And then as you exhale, I want you to gently pull on your strap to open up your hands out to the side. Imagine those collarbones opening up. But as you are pulling on that strap is pulling your ribs down, right? It's kind of lacing your ribs together in the front. Does that make sense? So you're inhaling in, your strap's coming together. And as you exhale, you're pulling your hands apart. And that's putting tension on the strap around your ribs. So as you exhale, your ribs are lacing together, the strap pulling them together. Inhale into the strap. Exhale, open. And I'm going to do it a little more exaggerated just so you can see a little bit better. So as I inhale, my hands come together. As I exhale, I pull the strap closed or tight. And that keeps my ribs down while my chest opens up. Inhale together. Exhale apart. I know my cues are a little off today. Inhale into the strap. Exhale. Lace those ribs together. Keep them down and open your chest. All right. All done. We went over time just a little bit. Thank you for being patient with me and Milo. I know that's a new thing. It can be a little confusing, there's like lots of things going on. Feel free to give it a try again. We'll revisit it. Don't worry. The whole idea is that we are kind of training our body to keep those ribs down and lace them down, kind of guide them down as we exhale and open that chest up. And remember, and as we are inhaling, we are using our whole diaphragm, expanding into our back and the sides of our ribs, because a lot of times we are we take these really shallow breaths throughout the day, and that can lead to some tightness in our back because we never really expand those muscles in the back as we breathe. We will talk more about it. Tomorrow is a review on everything that we've learned this week. Don't worry, we're going to get into more higher impact stuff, more strength training. We're going to get into our deep abdominals this weekend. So it's going to be good. I know it's been a lot of breathing. You guys are doing great. We're doing awesome work.